welcome to Talk This. It's dangerous to podcast alone. I'm one of your hosts, Madelyn, and I'm welcoming you today to another one of our side quest episodes of Talk This. That's right, it's not a full episode today, folks, but you already knew that. It's both of us talking about 10 topics, 5 each, for a minute apiece. It's gonna be real fun, so let's get rolling.
I don't really understand the obsession with esports. I guess there actually is a lot of effort and skill that goes into it. Although I don't know if there's more than sports itself, although maybe that's an unfair comparison. I guess people who couldn't play sports get sports, but what I don't really understand is, like, the phenomenon of, like, the competitive esports and why it happens. I mean, I guess it's a lot of the games that I don't play because I'm not really into online multiplayer and that sort of stuff. So maybe I'm biased against it, but also, like, you're watching people play video games really intensely. I don't know. It's just sort of like a confusing phenomenon that's happened. I mean, we give people visas to come play esports, which just seems insane to me. But maybe in another life, I would have been really, really good at Rocket League and made a lot of money playing it, and I just missed my opportunity.
So I was reading an article this week about how Netflix is planning to roll out some content where viewers are going to get to sort of choose their own adventure. They're going to watch TV content, but along the way they're going to get to pick how the TV show plays out. And theoretically, that they could watch a TV show sort of in an infinite loop and see all the possibilities. Now, when I read this, I was a little bit confused because it sounds like a video game to me. Television shows are something that we watch and we don't interact with. As video games become more complex story-wise, isn't the only thing separating them that the viewer has some agency or the player has some agency in doing it. It really seems like Netflix is taking a baby step into the gaming genre with these new interactive shows that they're planning, which, honestly, I would be okay with. It would be really exciting to see Netflix take a crack at streaming games. I mean, obviously they don't have the infrastructure, but we didn't think that they could make television shows on their own, and then House of Cards and Orange is the New Black blew up, so Netflix gamers.
If you listen to anyone in my family, I think that they will tell you that I'm a bit of a miser when it comes to money. And I'm thinking that perhaps video games have something to do with that. Because I am definitely the person who has to hoard my money because who knows what I'll need it for later. So I'm always selling off my excess stuff and I'm always buying the cheapest stuff and only when I need it and hoarding everything I find so that I don't have to buy it and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like that has sort of influenced my everyday life of just being like, that shirt's $10, like, really, could I not find it for cheaper? Like, sometimes I just need to relax, maybe, but that's definitely, I think, been sort of a developmental point for me, which is weird, because my sister is perfectly fine spending all the money that she so desires. Actually, but I'm definitely more of a hoarder than Madelyn, or really anyone in my family.
Remember when there used to be video game versions of board games? Maybe that's still a thing. I mean, there's still, like, a Jeopardy board game and still a Wheel of Fortune board game. I get that. But, like, when there was, like, games you'd play on your PC that were literally just you playing the game of life or playing Monopoly on your computer. And, like, this was obviously way before the days of online multiplayer. So it would just literally be you and, like, maybe some of your family or friends, like, trading off seats at the computer. Like, how weird is that? It never struck me as weird at the time. But looking back on it, it's like, we owned Monopoly. We owned the game of life. Like, why wouldn't we just get out the actual board game and play it? I guess it makes sense if you've got, like, a baby or a dog in the house who might eat pieces. I hadn't thought about it that way before. But still, it seems like a great way to swindle you out of some money. Like, you like the game of life? Try the game of life!
So I guess starting in the past year or so, I've really been sort of challenged myself to try to play games that are out of my comfort zone, which honestly is a lot of games. I feel like once you're into games, you sort of focus on the genre that you're like and sometimes don't branch out into other things. But, like, like I wouldn't have played The Last of Us a while ago. I wouldn't have tried to play BioShock Infinite, which I had to stop after it glitched because it was too hard. But I might go back to it. We'll see. And I know I just talked about how I don't understand online multiplayer, but maybe that's a step in the future for me. But I think that's something that's sort of great about video games and sort of all entertainment, but video games mostly, is that there's like something for everyone, right? You got literally something for everyone, like someone who loves like ridiculous 100-hour storylines, someone who likes 10-hour stories or really no stories at all, someone who likes choice and customization, all that stuff, and then you can break out of that comfort zone and really go and do something else too, which is amazing.
So I've done and will continue to do a lot of flying over the next few weeks, and I was thinking it would be super cool if instead of the in-flight entertainment, like television sort of promos that airplanes do, if they had in-flight entertainment that was video games. Like, and here's another plug for co-op video games. Wow, Emma and I are always on theme. But I think it would be so cool if instead of watching... I mean, I love watching the American Ninja Warrior stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it. It makes me very happy on the airplane. But I think it would be super cool if instead it was like, oh, like, me and these random guys next to me are going to play Call of Duty on the in-game game console that's been provided for us. Probably there's a lot of money to be made on exclusively licensing a console to a specific airline. I've got this whole business plan figured out, but basically I think it would make air flight much more fun and much more cooperative in the getting to know you kind of sense. I don't know.
I know I'm late to the party, people, but I just discovered the little bit creepy facial animations that are featured in Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, I haven't played the original trilogy, but like just even those ones seem like they're so much more sort of naturalistic than the ones from this new one, which seems wrong since they're like 10 years older. But like it just like something about their eyes, like they're too big and they like pop out of their head a little bit, and then they just like don't like it doesn't narrow or widen at all when it comes to like speaking, and it just like, I feel like I've been spoiled, you know? Like, if there's so much character customization in Mass Effect that I know that it can't be quite as detailed as something like Uncharted, but it's just like, it's just unnatural, right? I can't take it seriously when the face isn't doing things that should show emotion. And, you know, I'm spoiled. Clearly I'm spoiled. That's all.
Guys, I love that you can live anywhere and play a video game and get the same experience as someone who lives in any other random part of the globe. Like, I spent most of this week in New York City, which for me as a theater lover and as a food lover was really, really super exciting because I got to see Broadway shows and I got to eat at some really great restaurants. And I felt so lucky to be in New York and be able to experience things that were like top of the top in theater and food. But I feel like in video games, there's not really a video game capital of the world in the way that New York is such a destination for foodies and for theater goers. Like, you can talk about Tokyo, maybe, and, you know, I went to the Nintendo Superstore in New York when I was there, but I just think there's something so great about how video games are an art form that can be shared whether you live in the middle of podunk Nowheresville or in the biggest city in the world. I like art that can be shared that way, regardless of where you live, that's accessible to everyone.
I don't know if you know this, but, you know, if you've listened to other episodes, my sister and I really love dogs. We have 3 dogs at home. We love them. They're cute. They're cuter than your dogs. Sorry. And I wish there were more dogs in video games. I just spent some actual money on my Avengers Academy game so I could get Lucky the Pizza Dog, which was a solid choice on my part, if I do say so myself. But, like, it's like, I can't deal with it when dogs die. Like, I couldn't watch House of Cards because the very first scene where he kills the dog, I couldn't do it. I was just like, nope, done. And I almost couldn't get through the first moments of The Walking Dead Season 2 because she kills the dog, and I'm like, well, fine. Like, I can't handle it. So I wish there were more, like, friendly dog companions that would help you in your tasks, and you wouldn't have to kill them or put them down. That would be my ideal video game dog situation. Can that happen, please?
So in another edition of Madelyn shares news stories she's read this week and riffs on them related to video games, I was reading a story about how NFL players are suing each of the teams in the league about overdosing them basically with painkillers, like doping them up so much that they can play better because they can't feel their injuries. And it made me think about whether we'll ever reach a point where game versions of sports could replace real sports. As a football fan, I have some ambivalent feelings about watching the game, knowing how many of these people go on to suffer serious injuries and really debilitating pain in their old age. And I don't know how much it would detract from the experience for me if the players weren't real. I wonder if this is a solution to the football lovers who still want to see football, but also those of us who don't want to see people hurt and dying for our entertainment. Just a thought. NFL owners, hit me up. I know it's kind of far-fetched, and I know gaming and athletic prowess aren't totally the same, but I think it could work.
So this has been another SideQuest episode of Talk This, It's Dangerous to Podcast Alone. I'm your other host, Emma, the one that closes the show. And, thanks for listening. As always, we'll have another full episode for you next week, so look forward to that a lot. It's got Hyper Light Drifter and Oregon Trail. So that will be a lot of fun. If you like this episode, if you like any of our episodes, please share us with your friends or with not your friends, just on the internet, or shout about us on the street corner, because it really helps us out more than you can imagine. So like us on all our social media channels. We got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's exclusive content on all of those, so you'll be getting different things if you subscribe to each one. And as always, interact with us, send us messages. We love hearing from you. We will send back to you. And as always, have a great day.